We've been together just over 5 months. I've had my fair share of relationships, and this is the best one I've had so far. We do have some differences, but the chemistry, values, communication in general, and so on, are spot on. I haven't felt so happy, understood, and safe with anyone. However, there is something that has started to weigh on me. First things first, I earn quite a bit more than him, officially maybe 30%, but he gets more from working overtime. On the other hand, he lives with his parents, so he doesn't pay any rent or bills, while I pay the extortionate rent in the city where we live. I am trying to save money to buy my own place, hopefully within a year or two. We both spend money on each other, which is why it's hard. It's not like he doesn't spend anything. Generally, I feel I am paying for many more things than he is, and he now expects me to keep paying basically. He does nice things for me, like taking me out to a restaurant, and then I do the decent thing of treating him back as soon as possible. Maybe out of some sense of guilt, I don't know, which he always accepts, of course. He helped me a lot when moving flats recently, so I thanked him by treating us to a couple's massage and a pretty expensive lunch. Because his big 30th birthday is coming up soon, I have booked us a weekend abroad, including transport and hotels, and so on. I wanted to do it because he genuinely is so nice and makes me so happy. I mean, I am appreciative, and I do show that I am grateful. I am not entitled to anything nice he does. I also invited him to 3 events with my friends in the past month or two and paid for all of them. The first time he asked me what he needs to pay me, and I said, "It's okay, I invite you, so it's on me." The next 2 times he didn't even ask, which was fine because I don't like splitting everything half and half. I believed he would just book something for us sometimes as a reciprocal gesture of appreciation, the way I treat him to dinners and cocktails after he has taken me on a date. For context, at the very early stages of our dating, he did get us tickets for a performance of one of his friends, and I obviously asked him what I owe, and he said it's on him. But that was one time, and I can't help but feel it was more to make his friend happy. There are also smaller things, like he spends 6 days a week at my place, but when I make a big shopping trip on the weekend, food to last the entire week, he hasn't offered to contribute, even though he knows he'll basically be living with me the entire week. However, he does buy things when I ask him to because he comes by car, and there are no shops nearby. For example, he will bring some wine or milk or whatever we are out of. So this isn't such a major issue. Now I'll get to what tipped me over the edge. Last night we were discussing going to an outdoor event with a friend of mine, and it turned out there is an entry fee. Nothing extortionate, but a fee nonetheless. When we saw there was a fee, he said, "So what, let's go anyway," but we left it there, undecided. Later in the evening, we were joking about something and I said, "Okay, whoever wins the bet takes the other to this event." And he replied to me, "Yeah, but you pay." Confused. I said, "What?" And he said firmly, "If I win the bet, you still pay." He saw I got very quiet, asked me what was wrong, and so a long discussion started. He said what he said was a joke, but to me, it seemed 100% serious. Needless to say, he got upset because I see how it seems I'm keeping score of who is paying for what. It seems he doesn't understand where I'm coming from. I said that because I am the only one offering to go to places. It seems there is now an idea that I will be paying for everything. If I suggest figure skating, I pay. If I suggest going to the cinema, I pay. He said that we go for walks because my favorite thing is to go on walks with him, and we did a trip to a nearby city recently. He also expressed disappointment that he is doing so much for me, and I am bringing up money topics. To be honest, I was hoping he would just say he would take me to some show as well. Lately, I've been sending him links to some inexpensive events in the city, and he doesn't really acknowledge them much. I feel he's waiting for me to make the decision to go somewhere so that I will pay again like the previous times. In the end of our talk, he just said, "Okay, in that case, I'll be paying for my own tickets from now on," which sounded like we didn't leave things on a good note. Now there's this awkwardness about things, which I am sure will affect the relationship and how we spend our time together, and I am unsure if I was unreasonable to feel bad. On one hand, you treat your partner to things from the bottom of your heart because you love them and want to make them happy. Does this mean I am being mean for being upset that it doesn't seem quite so equal? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. To be fair, you are keeping score. I'm not saying that's the wrong thing to do, but based on this post, it's pretty clear that how you have been handling the relationship up to this point is the issue. You say you suggest expensive things and then pay for them. Is he suggesting any dates or ideas, or is he only suggesting inexpensive things? To be honest, all of this should have been handled in a calm discussion when he started spending a lot of time at your place. The suggest a date and pay for the date system works okay, but inevitably there is someone in the relationship who is better at coming up with ideas than the other, so it hits the hurdle you are experiencing. So I suggest sitting down and discussing both his feelings and your feelings and finding a solution that feels right for the two of you. Comment 2. One thing I strongly suggest: quit booking these expensive gifts and trips. You say you are doing it to show appreciation, but you hope or expect him to do the same in return. A true gift does not come with expectations, and I think he is getting accustomed to you paying and now expects it. Also, have a real honest conversation about how you are feeling. If I received links to events, I would think the other person was suggesting they take me, or, at the very least, I would not think they were suggesting I take them. I am a woman. Talk. Quit buying extravagant gifts or trips. Now, for the update, I'm not gonna lie, I thought things would get better after that last conversation about finances. But here I am, a little over a month later, and the awkwardness between me and my partner is still super obvious. So after a lot of debating with myself, I decided to try and make peace and planned a holiday dinner with my family, hoping it would ease some of the tension. I invited my partner because, well, I thought it could help us reconnect, you know? Spoiler alert, it didn't. My family went all out for the dinner. We're talking a huge spread with all the traditional dishes you could imagine. As we sat down to eat, my dad made this sweet toast about love and support. My partner laughed at the toast, but that's all he did. He didn't join in or anything. Kinda awkward, right? After dinner, my younger brother asked him about his job search, and my partner just shrugged it off, saying he was taking his time. Like, what does that even mean? My sister even suggested a local job fair, but he just dismissed it like it was nothing. At this point, I was getting really frustrated. I thought maybe a game night would lighten the mood, but my partner refused, saying he was too tired and wanted to go home. So much for reconnecting, right? A week later, my birthday was coming up, and I planned a small party with some close friends. I invited my partner, but his response was pretty lukewarm. No enthusiasm, nothing. On the day of the party, he texted me last minute saying he couldn't make it. I was already over it at this point. During the celebration, my friends couldn't help but notice the lack of effort from my partner. They were really concerned about it, and honestly, so was I. A few days later, I stumbled upon a social media post from my partner that made my stomach drop. He posted pictures from a concert he attended with friends. I was fuming. I confronted him about the concert via text, and he had the audacity to claim he didn't think it was a big deal. This led to a heated argument over communication and transparency. About a week later, we met to discuss everything. I thought it would be a serious conversation, but he didn't even acknowledge the previous issues. I had to lay it all out for him, saying we needed more balance and effort. He reacted defensively, trying to downplay my concerns. I left that meeting feeling like I was talking to a brick wall. At this point, I had enough. I decided to cut ties with him. I sent him a final message explaining why I was ending things, and his response was just pure anger. He insisted I was overreacting. I'm at a point now where I'm just over it. Edit. After hearing advice, I realized I was too lenient. Initially, I thought the job search was just slow, but he had been living with his parents for a long time. He did help with chores, but not consistently. When we went out, he often expected me to pay, claiming he was low on cash. I used to pay without a second thought, but now I see the pattern. I know I can afford my lifestyle, but I wanted us to grow together, not just me. Am I the idiot for setting up a dinner to catch my boyfriend in a lie about his work trip? My boyfriend and I have been together for almost 3 years now. we've had no intimacy for almost 5 months. At the beginning of our relationship, we consistently had intimacy, especially during the honeymoon phase. It did slow down a little bit, but overall in our relationship, we had been consistent with once or twice a week. Around springtime this year, I did start to notice it becoming more so every 10 to 14 days, which didn't bother me too much because both of us have full-time jobs, so it makes sense. Around the beginning of June this year, it completely stopped. I really tried not to push the issue at first because sometimes we would go around 2 weeks without it. On top of it, our jobs really started picking up over the summer, so sometimes we would both get home super late and almost immediately go straight to bed. When I started trying to initiate intimacy, I was almost immediately brushed off. It was never mean or aggressive, but it very much made a point that it was not wanted, and I always respected that. I would try to wait a couple of weeks before initiating again, but always got the same response. I really tried to not let it get to me and feel rejected, but I did finally start asking what the problem was. Anytime we have talked about it, I have pretty much gotten the same response. It started with him claiming that he just couldn't get it up anymore, which I always tried to express concern about, that he should see a doctor or at least consult someone about this issue. In the more recent discussions we have had about it, he has also added that work has been stressing him out. This part I know is factual because he is now actively trying to find a new job. He does complain about how stressful his boss can be, and from what I've witnessed, it very much tracks. Again, I have been trying to offer suggestions and try to help him with dealing with the stress. As of the past 6 weeks, I have really been trying to actively find solutions because I do feel like this has been starting to affect me in a very negative way. He tries to reassure me that I have done nothing wrong, but he also keeps claiming that he's working on it with his libido. With no doctor's appointments made or any willingness to put in effort to try to fix the issue. I'm really trying my best not to make him feel pressured about it. But I feel like at this point, I might as well just give up and stop trying to save our intimacy life. I don't want to be overbearing, as I feel like having that discussion every few weeks isn't pressuring. But maybe it is. I'm not sure if I should stop bringing the topic up altogether and just let it play out and see if he starts to look for the resources himself. I really don't want him to feel bad or ashamed about it and just want to find the source of the problem, whether that be many or just one. I do really care about him, but if this is starting to affect my own mental health and make me insecure, I'm just not sure what to do. To add, I also want to make it clear that we have always had a very trusting and solid relationship. We willingly share each other's locations, we live together, and we know each other's phone passwords. Cheating has never been a thought during this process. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Stress and mental health can be a huge factor for both men and women when it comes to intimacy, health, and libido. The stress response doesn't allow for the pleasure reward centers to be activated with relaxation, or to come out of the very cerebral thinking space to be able to be caught up in the physical feeling between two people. An intimacy health counselor may be able to provide some ideas of ways to connect that don't involve a goal or the pressure to perform, but just relaxing into each other and discovering each other and what feels good, especially in a caring or playful way. Communication, trust, and vulnerability are paramount at times like these. He may also benefit from a cardiovascular check to ensure his blood pressure isn't elevated, as blood pressure can be related to heart-on blood flow. Comment 2. I'm sorry you're going through this. You need to tell him how it's affecting you. Men are not always aware of how their actions or inactions affect others until they are told. It sounds like you've had a healthy relationship up to this point. I would suggest therapy if there's a mental block he's experiencing. Has he gained weight with stress? That could be a factor as well. Either way, have an honest conversation and don't phrase the problem as he can't get hard. Rather, you miss being intimate with him and you both need to get that back. I hope it goes well. Now for the update. A week after my last post, my boyfriend casually mentioned he was going to a work conference in another city for 3 days. Like, thanks for the heads up, dude. He didn't even ask if I wanted to come along or anything. I was like, okay, cool, whatever. He just seemed kind of stressed about it, so I didn't want to push. When we were packing for the trip, he got a text and was acting all anxious. I asked him who it was, and he just deflected, saying it was work stuff. Yeah, right, because everyone gets all jittery over work stuff. So he left for the conference, and I was feeling a bit lonely, but I just hoped that maybe some time apart would help, like distance makes the heart grow fonder or whatever. A few days later, I was getting ready for a family dinner at my parents' house. My parents invited me to bring my boyfriend, but he declined because of work obligations. I mean, obviously. At dinner, my mom was all like, "How's your boyfriend doing?" And I mentioned the trip and how stressed out he was. I was really trying to keep the conversation light. Then my dad joked about how my boyfriend should just man up and deal with it. Like, "Thanks, Dad. Real helpful." After dinner, my younger sister Kate asked if everything was okay between us. I just shrugged it off, not wanting to create a scene at dinner. I mean, it was a nice meal and everything. Once I got home, I checked my phone and saw a notification from a social media app. I noticed my boyfriend had posted pictures from the conference, looking all happy with his coworkers. And then I saw this comment on his post that caught my attention. It mentioned a fun night out. Like, what even is that supposed to mean? The next day, my friend texted me, sharing a screenshot of my boyfriend with another woman from the conference. She said she recognized the woman from a previous work event and that she was super flirty. My friend was like, "You need to be careful." So I confronted my boyfriend over the phone asking about the woman in the picture. He was all like, "It's nothing, babe. It was all in good fun." Yeah, right. A few days later, I went to a friend's birthday party, and guess who I ran into? The woman from the picture. She was all like, "Oh my God, I met your boyfriend at the conference. We had a great time." Yeah, I could tell. Later, I confronted my boyfriend again, demanding clarity. He insisted nothing happened, but his tone was so defensive. Like, "Buddy, you're not fooling anyone." I reached out to some mutual friends, asking if they knew about anything that happened at the conference. One friend mentioned a party that was held after the conference and hinted at some wild behavior. I was like, "Oh, really?" So then I organized a surprise dinner for my boyfriend when he got back, inviting the woman as a friend. Yeah, I know, kinda petty, but I needed answers. I set up the dinner at this restaurant known for its intimate atmosphere. On the night of the dinner, my boyfriend arrived looking all cheerful and unsuspecting. I mean, he looked like he just won the lottery or something. Then the woman walked in, and his face dropped. He realized what was going on. I calmly addressed the situation, pointing out the pictures and comments. He started stammering, trying to explain, but I cut him off. I laid out all the details I had gathered, leaving zero room for denial. It was like a scene from a drama show. His defensiveness turned into anger, and he accused me of being controlling. I ended the dinner right there, leaving him and the woman at the table. I walked out, and his voice faded behind me. I knew there wouldn't be any more games after this. Edit. A lot of people are asking about the woman and her role in all of this. To be clear, I don't think she was entirely innocent, especially if she knew he had a girlfriend. However, my main issue is with my boyfriend. I've spoken to some friends about the situation, and they are divided in their opinions. Am I the idiot for blocking my cheating fiancé and refusing to listen to his excuses? I'm a 27-year-old female, and I was engaged to a 30-year-old man. We are both Muslim, so it's highly common to get married relatively quickly. Anyhow, he was the one interested in marriage at first. Obviously, I was too, but he brought it up first. He introduced me to his pretty religious family, father, all of his siblings, all of his friends both in the country and back home. We looked up rings together. He picked up a second job to start saving as much as he could for the wedding we were planning for February. One day, with reason, I went through his phone. He had communicated with his ex for the second time and deleted chats for a second time. He swears there's nothing and she's engaged to someone else. Then on Snapchat, I saw that he had added about 20 new females in the last month, and he had messaged 90% of them, some leaving him on read, some not even opening the messages. Mind you, He has been taking my phone and actually deleting men and removing men from my life, while simultaneously it feels like he is adding females to his. I messaged one of the girls and she didn't respond to me, but she immediately posted a call girl advertisement on her Snapchat story for the province that we live in. I'm not sure if she works in our city. She denied seeing him. He swears his friend added all of these girls on his Snapchat through quick ad. I knew this was a lie. Girls were added 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, etc. His friend has his own Snapchat and own life. He has no reason to use his phone. His friend texted me to help him lie. He proceeded to beg for me back over the next week, calling me incessantly after I had ignored him for a few days, over 25 messages, 20 calls, etc. I agreed to talk, and he brought me flowers and apologized. He said it was an honest mistake and that he wanted to move forward, didn't want to lose me, he loved me, blah blah. This was 2 to 3 weeks ago. Fast forward to Sunday morning, we were laying in bed and he was on the phone with some of his buddies, and he was mindlessly clicking around his Facebook app. He accidentally clicked the Facebook dating app, which, to my surprise, was active, with recent photos of him. Photos I know he took 4 weeks ago, and another new one from just last week. I kicked him out of my apartment that morning. I slammed the door behind him. He now has me blocked because he has never been disrespected like that in his life. No one has ever slammed the door behind him like that. He has had all of his friends block me on Snapchat and texting, even though I didn't involve them. I just noticed they disappeared from my Snapchat, so I texted one of the female friends and realized she also had me blocked on text. I feel abandoned, stonewalled, and completely shut out of he and his friends' lives. When I'm the one who caught him cheating on me for what feels like the second time. Anyways, I love him and I miss him. If he comes back, I can't take him back, because these have created massive trust issues, and I don't think I'll ever feel secure with him or his friends again. But what was he up to? Why did he do this? What was he thinking? Help. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, nothing. He was thinking nothing, and he is clearly not the smartest, and you can do better. You should be beyond happy that this all happened before marriage. Be happy that all his trash friends who support lying apparently brought themselves out as well. Don't waste time finding the why. He's stupid. That's all that's there really, and it will never ever get better. So please don't fall for him if he tries to get back to you. Comment 2. As a man, I can say in full confidence that you need to drop this man like a hot potato. If you are engaged or soon to be married and he's doing stuff like this, think about what he will do when you are married. After you have kids, you can't have intimacy with him for a while, or after you have several children and your body is not as attractive to him. Run, girl, run from this guy. He will likely be unfaithful his whole life. Now for the update. It's been almost 2 days since I told my ex to get lost. I thought I was going to finally get some peace, but no idiots here. He messaged me asking if we could talk. He claims he wanted to explain everything. Like, dude, what is there to explain? You had a whole roster of girls on Snapchat. Still, I just ignored the message because seriously, not even 2 days in, and he thinks I'm ready for a chat. My best friend was like, you need to get off social media, so I deleted my accounts temporarily. Honestly, it felt good. No drama, no random people checking up on me, just quiet. I tried to distract myself by binge-watching shows and reading, but my mind kept wandering. It's just so messed up. My parents invited me over for a family dinner to cheer me up. My dad made his famous biryani. Like, everyone loves that stuff. It's just so good. I was kind of looking forward to it. But then my younger sister Kate kept asking about my ex. I mean, I get that she wants to know, but I wasn't in the mood for her questions. During dinner, my mom casually brought up wedding plans. Like, Mom, do you not know I just went through a breakup? I laughed it off, but then my brother Jake mentioned my engagement, and the mood just shifted. I felt all eyes on me, and it was awkward. So I quickly changed the subject to Kate's upcoming exams. Like, let's focus on something less cringe. After dinner, I went to the kitchen to help clean up while everyone else chatted. It was just nice to have my hands busy and not think about this whole mess. Later that night, I got a call from my ex's sister. She wanted to check on me because my ex was upset. Like, why are you calling me? I told her I'm fine, just a bit tired. She mentioned that he had been trying to reach out. Yeah, I noticed. The next morning, I woke up to find a voice message from him. He apologized again and said he wanted to show me proof of what he claims was a misunderstanding. So I didn't respond and just went out to run errands instead. I bumped into one of his friends at a local coffee shop. He looked so awkward when he saw me. I greeted him, and he quickly changed the topic. It was so obvious he wanted to avoid talking about my ex. Later that evening, I got another message from my ex, asking again to meet. Like, bro, give it a rest. We decided to meet at a restaurant where we had our first date. I showed up, and he was already at a table looking so nervous. He handed me his phone, and it showed screenshots of conversations with the girls he had messaged. According to him, they were just casual chats, and he never meant to hurt me. He said he wanted to work on things and prove he was trustworthy. Like, how do you even prove that? I told him I needed time to think about it, not wanting to rush back into anything. He agreed, but looked disappointed. The following day, I decided to block him on everything. I just wanted a clean break. A few hours later, I got a message from a mutual friend saying my ex was dating someone new. What? I mean, I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but still. I spent time with family the next weekend. It was nice to be around them and enjoy their support and laughter. I decided to plan a solo trip to a nearby city. I just wanted to explore and have fun. That's where I'm at, RN. Edit. It's been a few days since meeting my ex. I told him I needed time to think, but honestly, I just don't want to deal with this right now. After blocking him, I started getting updates from friends. Apparently, he got back with someone he used to date, but I don't know any details. It's just funny because he was all about wanting to work things out with me. I went on a solo trip to a nearby city for some relaxation. It was nice to explore and enjoy some time alone. I just focused on myself, went hiking, and tried new foods. It was refreshing. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.